Word. Welcome, Team Fit and Free, to the Team Fit and Free monthly Zoom. I am so glad to see you all here. It's good to have team unity, and it feels good to see you guys show up and learn and connect. And I know it's not always convenient. We all have some place we could be, some kid we could be laying in bed with or eating dinner with or something. But you're going to be so glad that you are on, and you're going to get momentum. And keep in mind that there's going to be a lot of ideas that come at you fast tonight because we've got a lot of good things to share and a lot of different leaders sharing. You don't have to take all of them and do something with it. Never be paralyzed by information. Pick the thing that made you the most excited and run with it. And just know you have all those other things in your toolbox if you need to in the future. Cool? You see some heads. Oh, yay. Your heads are bobbing. Perfect. Okay. Let's get started. So, you might have seen there was a big leadership retreat for Beachbody. You have to be a 5-star diamond coach and up and have a certain amount of elite points to be at this Beachbody event, and it's amazing. They had some killer keynote speakers. Mel Robbins was one who wrote the 5-second rule, and a lot of different presentations from the top coaches. So I have a few things I want to share from that. And then we also had the Team Rockstar Fit Diamond Retreat directly after. It was a week of killer information, and there was so many great things shared at the Team Rockstar Fit day as well. And we're going to have different leaders from our team tonight sharing. And really quick, I just want to give a shout out to Julianne. She's got to go to a church meeting halfway, but she was at the leadership retreat and shared some killer stuff at the Team Rockstar Fit day that you're going to hear as well. So, whoop, whoop, for Julianne. Thanks for being on for all you can. Okay, so what I want to start with is leadership, the main part of leadership. And Carl Deichler, you guys know who he is, right? Yes, cool, good. We're going good here. So he opened up kind of the show, and he talked so much just about the company and a few things he said that I wanted to share. He's so passionate about helping people, and he's also very passionate about business, but you can tell his passion for helping people is like at least a little bit bigger than his passion for money. And I can guarantee you that is why this company has been so successful. He talked about one-hit wonders, how there's so many companies out there that are like one-hit wonders. And he really kind of said, you know, some of those companies are the Macarena or Who Let the Dogs Out, and we are the Beatles, is how he compared it. And I was like, oh, I love that analogy. We are the frickin' Beatles. Like, we're going to make hit after hit after hit after hit. And we don't take hits and dissolve. You know, we just get stronger. So I really love that analogy. And that wasn't even the notes in front of me. That just came to my head as I started talking about Carl. There's a lot of things that come to my head when I talk about Carl. Side note, we talked to Carl at the Elite Party. And I just walked up to the table and he was standing there. And I'm kind of known for being an idiot when I have to talk to Carl. And I think I did pretty good. And he left the table and Julia goes, "You did really good." It's like, it's getting better than last time. I was like a deer in headlights. But he said, our commitment is to help people lose weight. It's hard to help people change behavior. Listen, if you are struggling with hearing no, or if you have a coach on your team who is struggling with hearing no, you need to go into Rock the Business. I think if you just type in YouTube Team Rockstar Fit or something like that, I'll have to share it in the event page. I did a video about objections. And I've had lots of coaches in Team Rockstar Fit say that video was like what my coaches need to hear, because no is no, I'm not ready to actually commit to myself yet. No, I'm not ready to believe I can do this yet. It's never no, I don't like you. Like, we are literally asking people to change behaviors, not buy an amazing can opener from Pampered Chef, which their can openers are amazing. If you don't have one, that is where your next can opener should come from. But like, that is so easy to say yes or no to. You know, we are literally asking people to choose to believe in themselves. So I was meeting with a new coach today who's about ready to run a group, and we were having this conversation. She said, last time I tried to do this, I got so many no's, it was very disheartening. And I'm like, you gave it about 5 minutes, probably like effort, and you let those no's just stop you. And we had this conversation, and I said, listen, she's about to do a short challenge. And she's like, I'd love to get 3 people. I'm like, great. You're going to have to invite 30 people. because for every 10 people you ask, you can count on one saying yes. And she was just like, oh my gosh, that's so much work. I'm like, no, listen, for those other 9 that say no, 8 will come back to you and say yes later. Like, your work is never wasted. I was just talking to Ashley earlier tonight, and she's had a couple of people reach out to her that said no originally. So you've got to remember that we're asking people to change behavior. He said there's 2 billion obese people in the world, 266 million in North America. He said, we can't just drop off a box. We can't just, there's so many things I could say, and I won't go off on a tangent, and other MLMs. We are so different because we offer support. We walk the walk. We're not perfect, but we are willing to help. We're willing to give someone belief before they have belief in themselves. You've got to remember that. A no does not mean, a no is like, you're on my radar. And now you just got to keep showing up and proving to this person that you're worth believing in them. He said the people crushing it right now in this business aren't carrying baggage. They are treating this like a brand new startup. They are speaking to people in a brand new way. He said our 4 vital behaviors are so important, which we all know those, personal development, inviting, walking the walk, recognition, but he said constant improvement is also needed. He talked about their journey from Beachbody starting in infomercials and how now they're on this online platform and infomercials don't get the word out anymore and they have to find these other avenues. They're going through the same thing that a lot of coaches might be going through. And some of you are new. Don't even worry about that. You just keep doing what you're doing. It's about enthusiasm and belief. He said Beachbody has the best value when it comes to the whole package. There's only 1.1 million people using Beachbody On Demand right now. 1.1 million people using Beachbody On Demand right now. And remember, there's 266 million obese people in North America. And it's not just obese people who need Beachbody On Demand. The mom who has absolutely no energy at the end of the day could use some Beachbody On Demand. The guy who might be really short and has let his height his whole life like steal his confidence could really use some Beachbody On Demand. Like, everyone could use that. So like, it is a huge market of people who need it. We have the tools in our hands to completely change lives. So just remember that. He said he promises that Beachbody will innovate. We are not going to create the easiest thing to sell. We are going to make things that work. I thought that was cool. I'm like, I don't want to sell a can opener, even though I probably could based on someone's going to buy a can opener from Pampered Chef after hearing me say that. But like, I want to like sell things that are going to change people's lives, and be able to help support them. Okay. I did do a post in the event page with some of the updates on like Portion Fix, the bars, 80-day obsession, some of the more of that technical stuff, but we're going to skip that for tonight. I want to go to Alyssa Shoemaker. She's a former top 10 coach. She talked about Facebook, and I was like, okay, I needed to hear this, because if you've been on Facebook for a while, maybe you've noticed like you don't get maybe as many likes, or what you're doing might not be cutting it the way it was before. So she offered some tips that I was like, I need to do that. I have not been doing that. So she talked about Facebook rules of engagement. She said she noticed in September she was sharing so much and getting absolutely no traction like she used to. Like, she'd do a vulnerable post and it was not having the same kind of interactions, people messaging her, stuff like that. So she said, I had to research it. It has to do with relationship equity, that the person that you're already built, and that Facebook is trying to emphasize real life relationships. So she said, think of affinity. Sometimes we hear a Facebook affinity. It's basically how much you get seen. She said, think of affinity as social media currency. Be thoughtful and you will always beat the algorithm, is basically a great thing to remember. She said mutual connections, mutual friends, engaging, recent interaction are some of the things. Like if you have mutual friends with people, recent engagement, stuff like that. She had 5 tips. Here's the 5 tips. This is a great one. She called it prime your timeline. So before you post, go comments. Like comments. So really quick, and I'm sure many of you have seen this before, but I have a friends list of will-be challengers and potential teammates. So you can use your friend list. You can add people to these lists. So when you hover over someone's name, so I can just pull this up and I'll go comment on some of these posts before I'm going to do a post. And she said, be thoughtful with them. Don't just put emojis and things like that. Like, you want it to be social. Remember, Facebook wants it to be like a real life conversation. So she says, spend 10 minutes a day and do comments that are thoughtful, post on people's stuff that you want to interact with. She said, timing of post is not as important as priming before a post. So maybe worry a little bit less about what time it is and like more about your interaction. And number 2 is be social. I kind of touched on this. Comments need to be like a real conversation. She said comments are king. They're 8% more effective than doing an emoji or a like. You want to try and get comments going back and forth. You want to engage in conversation. Number 3, be mindful about network. So basically adding people with a purpose. Check out their pages before. See if they're even active on social media. See if there's someone you would be friends with. She said, don't add in a ton or delete in one day. I can't remember exactly why she said that, but whatever. Freeland's going to talk a little bit more about finding some good people on social media. Number 4, copy and paste lowers engagement. So just be original. You know, she said sometimes posts have a code. Like, she got a little bit more technical. So just be original. You know, like, get inspired by someone's post and then do your own version. And then number 5, rewarded for using more tools. So whatever's new on Facebook, they're probably going to have more favoritism to. So she said video is king and is getting priority right now. Facebook Live has allowed us to increase our affinity and generate more comments. She also talked about just those like colorful things now, you know, where you can just write text and pick a color, like stuff like that as well, having more affinity too. So cool. I'm going quick because Peggy, I don't see Peggy yet. Hopefully Peggy's hopping on. Anyways, don't worry. I wanted to share from Keisha Fitzgerald. She talked about part-time coaching. And I really love what she had to say. So let me tell you Keisha's story. She, corporate hustler is kind of what she told herself. Like, she was excited to be in the corporate world and just like hustle, hustle, hustle. She lived out on the West Coast and was working for Google, I think, and really loved her job. She said, my coach that sponsored me had this like back up against the wall kind of story, like had to make this work to save her family kind of thing. And she couldn't really relate to that. And so she started to reframe it to fit her. And she started coming up with this idea of having a part-time coach role and really pitching it as that, which I love, because how many times, like, I know I brought people on in the past where I'm like, there's been this idea that this is going to be their job. And there can be like so much more pressure with that. And I know when I started, I was like, I just want to buy a running garment, and they're like $150. Like, that'd be so awesome if I could get my running garment paid for. Like, really just started with a small goal. And then I was like, I just want to fill up my gas tank again this week with Beachbody money and not my other money, because it makes me feel like I can drive and not be upset that gas is $3.50 a gallon kind of stuff. So this whole idea of part-time. So she had some slides that I was going to share. Okay. So she talked about recruit to a part-time with a simple pitch to basically acknowledge misconceptions. You know, you don't have to be full-time, talking about how much time it might actually take. One of my coaches had a friend that she invited to coaching recently, and she said, oh, I just don't have the time for it right now. And I said, Steph, ask her how much time she thinks this takes. And you know what she said back? She said, I think it takes about 5 hours a day. And I almost fell off my chair. I was like, oh God, I don't want to spend 5 hours a day. Like, sure, there's been days where I have, but that's not every day. And that's definitely not what a part-time coach is doing. So acknowledging those misconceptions, publicly explaining a side business. And she said some of her messages to challengers or people that she think would be great, like, hey, have you ever thought of doing a side biz? You kill it and could make some extra jargon or extra income. She said, use bestie jargon, not business income. Paint the picture of part-time income. I love what she said. She's like, you know, I know that my niche would love to have some extra money for shoes, for dates. She said to pay off credit card debt from the bachelorette destination trips that they're going on. Like, she really kind of knows her avatar. So what might it be? Like, you know, Sandra, like extra money to get your nails done and things like whatever it might be that you love. Like, I would love some extra money to go run a bunch of races in different states and things like that. And so, yeah, speaking to your target audience, and that was some great stuff there. Let me show you the next slide that she had. So she talked about basically her part-time coaches. So I love this, and I'll share these slides, you guys, in the event page of kind of what she would show as a to-do list for a part-time coach. So 5 new conversations a day, 3 invites, 1 social media post minimum. This is my day, more workouts, but, you know, definitely a little bit more here and there, but this is like going to be moving your business and totally doable. So I thought this was a cool tracker to kind of get an idea, so you could talk kind of about what would a part-time coach do. And then in the Get Started Right call, she kind of sets the expectations for them. She has a new coach training on part-time coaching benefits, weekly team calls, and she does shout outs in her team page for first $100 paychecks. She said it's really important to remember that first $100, that's a big deal. Like, I remember my first $14, I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. With promoting, she said, publicly promote the power of part-time, highlight other part-time coaches, tell relatable stories with specific examples. When I saw this, I was like, oh, duh. Like, it's okay to be a full-time coach, but a lot of people might not start there, right? Like, a lot of people don't start there. And if you can share stories of, like, people on your team who are balancing this, like, with their life, like their other job, like, that might be a cool way to talk about it and also debunk some of those myths. Last one here. Maybe not. Oh, she just said, you know, when you give people a smaller expectation to live up to in the beginning, they're going to have more wins sooner, which is going to build their confidence, which is going to build momentum, and will ultimately maybe create more full-time coaches. Not that it has to be the end game, but they can get their confidence and really find their footing in this. She said that I have happier coaches because expectations are often exceeded, and she has more coaches transitioning to full-time business building activities, more engagement in the community. I think that the best lesson in this is that if we can make it seem less complicated, less time intensive to join as a coach, then we would get more people saying yes. And we all know that if they were to actually engage and help someone get results or engage with this team, they'd be like, heck yes, give me more of this, you know? So we just have to trust that if we could get them in the team and get them involved in the group and get them to help someone, they're gonna be like, I wanna do it more. So just kind of approaching it with that attitude. Okay, yay. I'm gonna turn it over to Freeland. There you are. Yeah, you. And she is going to chat about some stuff that Julianne and Teresa Schrader had shared with us about meeting new people, because it lit a fire under her.
Yes, it did. It feels weird to be talking about it when Julianne's in the car. But Julianne, seriously, you know how much I love you. And you did such a great job at Diamond Day, you guys. Oh my gosh. If you are a new or newer coach, and you aspire to be Diamond, that's a great place to get to, because the quality of the training we get from the people on Team Rockstar Fit is incredible. So I've been doing this for about 3 years, and I was starting to feel like this past spring and summer, like I was losing the wind in my sails a little bit. And I can say that honestly, because I was. And I think that happens sometimes. You know, we hear a lot this business is very, you know, it ebbs and flows. There are mountain peaks and there are valleys. It goes up and down. You have really great months and then not so great, right? And with consistency, that will change. With consistency, your business will start to feel and be more steady as you learn yourself more, as you learn the business more, as you narrow in on your avatar and who you want to help. But my problem was that I just didn't feel like I was talking to anybody new. And I was feeling stale, and like Sarah said, Facebook felt like it was slowing down for me. And I've always been really, really dependent on Facebook. So when Snapchat came out and everybody was all crazy about it, I tried it for a week and I was like, this is stupid. I'm just going to use Facebook. This is more work, right? I'm super stubborn in that way. So Julianne presented on Instagram at the Diamond Day, and I literally started using Instagram the week before. I had used it in 2014 is when I made my account, and it had like 9 pictures on there and quit using it, right? That's not consistent, but it didn't click with me, and I just decided Facebook was for me. But seeing the trend of Facebook, hearing from Julianne, hearing from all these other leaders, knowing that Instagram is where a lot of coaches are finding new people, and it's a different crowd and there's different ways to connect with people. And like Snapchat, you can share your story, which is super fun. So I really jumped in, and I've been using Instagram now for a couple of weeks really consistently. I really like it. I'm finding new people. I have people following me, and it's going really well. So the one thing that I got really excited about was Julianne shared how to search for people, and it's so easy and it makes so much sense. So if you go into your Instagram, so if you have your phone and you use Instagram, grab your phone, open your Instagram so you can actually try it quick because it's super easy. Really quick side note though, if you don't have Instagram, if you're brand new and you're just starting out on social media, I would recommend opening an Instagram account. Get started, get used to it, start looking at what people are doing. And I would pick a username. So you guys, make sure you pick a username that matches you, has part of your name in it. Because I find people sometimes and I'm like, I can't even pronounce this, or it's just a bunch of letters and it doesn't make any sense to me. That's not very relatable. So as a coach, you want to be someone who, when you put your username out there, like that's just a small side tip from myself. As I'm finding people, I'm like, these letters don't make any sense. I'm not following you. So just pick a name that makes sense, right? So on your Instagram at the very top, oh, where's my camera? At the very top, there's these little circles, and you should be the first one. If you press and hold on that, it will say add to your story, okay? And from there, you can add, so I know this isn't about finding people, but just quick for your story, this is what a lot of people are following. You can click on the far left to add something from your camera roll, or you can take a picture or video right there to add to your own story, okay? And then you can also add pictures with captions and hashtags right to Instagram, which is separate from your story. And Julianne's advice was to post to Instagram once or twice a day, but to worry more about your story, to have about 10 little story clips on average, right? A few more, a few less is okay in your story each day, all right? So mine's a little less right now, but that's okay, right? It's all about consistency. So at the very bottom of the main page of Instagram, you'll see a little search, a little magnifying glass down here. And if you click on it, click on the magnifying glass, then you have to actually physically tap in the search bar at the top. And when you do that, when you click in the search bar, you see top, people, tags, and places. Will you give me a thumbs up if you see it? Yeah? Cool. And then if you go all the way over and click on places, everybody type in Mackinac Island. I think this is even the example Julianne used because Sarah likes Mackinac Island. And if you click on Mackinac Island, Michigan, you'll see top posts and most recent. So I like going to most recent because sometimes if you go to top posts, they're like from last year or a few months ago. And I personally like to be more recent, and I feel like that's a little bit more relatable. So I go to the most recent pictures, and like if I click on this super cute girl sitting on a fence, oh, well, if I click on this girl sitting on a fence, right, I can click on her profile and I can see she has a couple hundred followers and she's following almost 500 people, right? And she has some very interesting pictures on there. So I'm not sure I would necessarily follow her, but here's the thing. If I was going to follow her, the rule is to click like, right? Click the heart, click like on 5 of their pictures on their profile and comment on 1. And when you do that, your chances of them following you are really good. And you can choose to follow them if they look like somebody you'd like to follow, right? Okay, so I moved on to this other girl who, okay, so she lives in Michigan, and I'm looking at her pictures. So really quickly, I could click on her pictures, and I could like 5 of them, and I could comment on 1 and say, oh, I love the Grand Hotel, right? Really simple, and it's really likely that they'll follow you back. Okay, and then the other one that you'll want to use to find people is tags. So we used places. When we clicked in the search bar, we used places. So you guys look at places around where you live. Look at places where, so I put in Muskellunge Lake State Park because that's where we camped as kids. And all of these really cool pictures and people came up. Like, it's very Michigan-y, very outdoorsy. And so I was going through those people and finding people, right? Like, do things that relate to you, places that relate to you, maybe a city you love, or like I said, vacations you've been on, those kinds of things for places, right? Don't just randomly pick, like, have something in common with that place. And then same thing with tags. I talked to my team about this and I asked my team. So while Julianne was going over all of this, I made a whole list. Can you see them all? These are all hashtags of potential tags that I could search. So some of mine, because they relate to me, are fitness music, potty training nightmare, home remodel, DIY, water junkie, struggling mom, simplify life, smarty pants 3-year-old, right? Things that have to do with you, brands of things you like, which are a little more vague, and they'll have more pictures and things like that to click on. But music you like, artists you like, authors you like, any hashtag you could think of that relates to you. Make a paragraph of them. Do it all at once, right? And then go into your notes on your iPhone, go into your notes and make a note. And I have all of my hashtags. I have 2 separate lists. One's more like home stuff and mom, and one's more of my fitness and instructor kind of stuff. And all I have to do is copy and paste it into Instagram, so I don't have to type in the hashtags all the time when I do my own posts. So anyway, when you're searching for hashtags, same thing. Search for the hashtag, click on a picture. If that looks like somebody who you'd like to follow or you'd like them to follow you, like 5 of their pictures, comment on 1. Cool? Sarah, is that good? Is that helpful for Instagram? I know it was super helpful for me.
Yes. Awesome. And then one quick side note on Facebook that I thought was helpful with adding people. I kind of was in the habit of going to birthdays and searching their friends, which you could totally do. What Teresa Schrader shared was like, go to a photography page in your area or just any photography page you like. And for her, she's looking for moms, and a lot of moms are on those pages because they're having pictures taken. So it could be anything. Like, there's a running group that I randomly got added to, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, these are all Michigan runners, and I've like been having fun talking to them. Like, you want to make more Facebook friends that you actually want to talk to. So looking for places on Facebook that you could make friends or start to connect with people there too. So awesome. Thanks, Amanda. Teresa is going to share on free groups, planks given and all.
Yeah. During the leadership, they were talking about free groups, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. So I put up a post and did it right then and there and started it the next day because it's just so easy to do. So if you haven't run a free group before, it's really simple. That's like my number one advice is to keep it simple. Don't overthink it. Do something that you can do in a few minutes a day. Because if you overthink it, you're not going to do it. And you want to save all of your good, really, really good. You want to make the free group good, but you want to save your really good stuff for the paid group. Like, don't give everything away for free. So, like, for example, I love doing planks, and I start at like 5 to 10 seconds a day in my free groups, and I just build 5 seconds every single day. And we're at a minute right now, and I'm kind of hovering there because I find if I go too long into the plank, people will drop off. So you have to remember, these are real people that want to do exercises or whatever it is. That's the other thing I was going to say. You don't have to have it about fitness, but they're not going to want to spend a ton of time on it yet. You're just trying to get people in the door so that they can have that conversation and that connection with you. Like, I just was looking at my free group right now, and somebody said, I planked for 1 minute with my entire family. And I don't know this person, so I'm going to start talking to her and start that conversation. You know, so just keep it simple and make it something that you like and that you can fit into your everyday life. So if it's something like Sarah was, when she was talking about it, she was talking about doing, I think, an 80-day butt and leg challenge because she was pregnant and she was going on a cruise. So she wanted her legs to look really good. So it's something that she was doing anyway for herself. It could be, I was thinking about my next one, it could be like 5 tips every single day on how to identify if your kid has an ear infection, because I used to be an audiologist. So, you know, just anything, any part of your life that's easy for you. It could be give yourself a compliment in the mirror every day for 5 days or for a week or whatever it is. Don't overthink it. Just put it out there and always say, hey, why don't you do this with your family? Or, hey, why don't you invite some of your friends to do this with you, because then you'll be more accountable and you'll more likely do it. And then that's going to expand your network. Let's see. Yeah. And those are basically the things that I have, because you just want to keep it simple. You want to make it something that you know about and that's easy for you to do. And you want to invite other people to it, and it doesn't have to be about fitness. You know, if you're a mom and you're struggling and there's something that you really want to focus on doing, it could be personal development. It could be like a quote a day to make people feel good. It doesn't matter what it is. Just get it out there, do it, make a post about it. You can even make an event page about it if you want to, but don't overthink it. Just take action. Like, a plank a day is not hard. And sometimes, like yesterday, I totally ran out the door and I just said, hey, it's a minute plank today, video coming later. You know what I mean? So just do it and put it out there, put yourselves out there and take action. And it's going to start some conversations with some people that you didn't know were in your network or that you wouldn't have talked about or talked to beforehand. And I always find that, like, doing the free or the warm invite is just so much easier. So if you're giving them something for free, they're more likely, you're building trust is what you're doing. They're going to trust you later for when you put out that invitation for more. But start the conversation with people. I wouldn't ask them too soon into the group to be in a challenge group. You want to build that trust first. They're going to see you. Their eyes are going to be on you then. You know what I mean? They're going to be watching you every day. And then you can, at the end of the group, say, hey, if you're interested in something more, let me know and reach out to me. And if you're having that conversation already, that invitation is going to come natural.
Heck yeah. And like we talked about Facebook affinity earlier, like that's just going to increase it. They're going to see you a ton more. Free groups are really about building trust and getting people to know you. So it's not so much about a sale. Who's done a free group?
That's the other thing I was going to say. Don't make it perfect. Like, my kids are in my groups all the time. My dogs are crawling over me. My cat's underneath me. They're seeing the real me, which is good. That's what you want them to see.
Right. So, I love that you took action with that right away. Another one that someone did was 5 outfits, 5 days, 5 outfits, 5 cool combos you can do in your closet. What else speaks to you? You know, I told Freeland, you could do 5 days, 5, do it yourself. Don't be scared. Don't have to rely on your husband kind of thing. or something. There's so many just fun things you could do. Just make it fun for yourself and that will rub off. Yay. Thanks, Teresa. And let's go. Where's she at? There she is. Hey, Lauren. So Lauren is going to share a little bit about just what we have access to.
Right. So give me a thumbs up if you've already found some amazing content that you are excited to implement, if you've learned something already. Awesome. I'm so glad that you're learning a lot. So one of my biggest takeaways from going here last week was actually a personal reflection. And it was based on taking action, and it was based on the resources that we already have access to in our team. So if you're sitting there and you're soaking up all this information and you're like, man, I really wish that I could have been at leadership this year, or I wish I could have gotten an invitation to the Diamond Retreat. Like, that's awesome. You should definitely strive for those goals. But at the same time, my takeaway was for myself. My upline is Julianne. And for the longest time, it was probably a good month and a half, Julianne was talking about these canned responses. And I kept putting this on my to-do list, and it kept getting pushed off to the next day. And so like, I just kept putting it off, and a month and a half has gone by, and it took me buying a plane ticket to Vegas to actually hear her talk about this when I've had access to probably 5 Zooms of her talking about how to create canned responses and how to implement them. And so that was just a missed opportunity, a month and a half where I was missing out on moving my business forward. So instead of, I guess I just want to put the point across, like, you're on a Zoom tonight, which shows that you're taking action. And that's awesome. Pat on the back to you. But also realize there are so many resources out there that you can go find. And I always recommend, like, find PD with something that you're struggling with. If you're struggling with invites, go to YouTube and watch 5 videos on how to invite. If you're struggling with recruiting coaches, go watch videos on YouTube. And you know what's really awesome about this? And I think this was like just another smack in the face moment. I've had a lot of those recently. I look at the elite coaches that are on Team Rockstar Fit. We have Trina, we have Sarah Morrison, we have Julianne Candia, and we have Teresa Schrader. We have access to at least 2 of those all the time. Like, out of the entire Team Rockstar Fit, we are always getting content from, I'm always hearing content from Trina, I'm always hearing content from Sarah, and I'm always getting content from Julianne. So I just want to remind you, use the resources that we have. They're always willing to help, and take action. Watch recordings. If you can't get on live, which I recommend that you do, it just is a sense of community, and it's so important that we're here to support each other. But just engage, implement, and just take action right away.
I love it. Great reminders, Lauren. Thank you. There is, and if you listen to Julianne, she'll say, I just got on YouTube and watched a video every day, like, to just get ideas. Like, sometimes you don't know, or just someone says it and you're like, that doesn't feel scary anymore. I could totally do that, you know? So click. So thanks, Lauren, for sharing that. And I'm glad you bought that plane ticket still. Erica, we are going to pass it over to Erica to talk a little bit more about live events.
Yeah, so I don't know if Sarah knew this when she asked me to talk about this, but I really contemplate going to every single live event that I go to. I debate if it's going to be worth it, and it always is. And after going to this last Diamond Day, I was really fired up about live events and just how, yeah, it's true, how helpful they really are. So yes, we have so many resources, like Lauren said, that we should definitely be using and taking advantage of all the time. But I found it was so helpful for me as a busy mom. I'm sure all of us have our own busy, to have that focused time to think about my business, to hear the ideas, and to actually take action and implement on it. It's so easy when it's just go, 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 to listen to something and then life happens and have to move on quick and change gears. So it was so helpful to have this set aside time to just focus on my business. Yes, I still called my family, but it was a day of really fueling my fire and learning and growing. But also, it was so helpful to make connections. It's awesome to be able to connect on Zooms like this, but there's really something about getting to talk to people in person and know that you're not on a lonely island. I feel like no matter how connected we are on social media, it can still feel lonely without seeing people in person. So I love that about the Diamond Day and about past live events that I've been to, just having those connections and having that time to really just focus on your business and take big strides forward with that time. So it was definitely worth the plane ticket and worth the time and time away from my family.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Erica. I totally didn't know that, but I can totally relate. I go through the same thing because I hate getting out of routine. You know, it's an inconvenience sometimes, but this is the stuff you got to do to grow. You know, like it's an excuse that you could choose to take or you could go. So I'm really glad that you shared and went. So yay. Okay, we are going to pass it over to Kim. Kim is going to talk about big ideas. And this was something, I won't say much, that was really apparent at the Beachbody Leadership and then was talked about again at Team Rockstar Fit Day, because we had Jeff Hill, who's the guy who does the National Wake Up Call, and Doug Moss, who is one of the sales reps who works with 8 stars to 15-star diamonds, come to our Team Rockstar Fit Day and talk to a group of 70 of us. So like a very small, intimate setting, which was very cool. So Kim, let me turn it over to you.
All right. We got to hear from Jeff and Doug, and it was so awesome to be able to hear them like just share and talk about what top coaches are doing and just really about some of the big things that are happening in our company, but also the big ideas that coaches like us, everyday normal individuals like us, have a big idea and take action on it, and big things happen for people. So you might have heard this phrase, take back the kitchen. It just was 2 coaches that started up at Summit that heard about double time coming and heard about, were thinking about some of the things that were happening in their life and how the people in their niche were needed help with nutrition, wanted to take back the nutrition, take back the kitchen and provide healthy things for their families. And so they thought up this idea, they had this idea and they came up with a name for it and they executed on it. And when we talked about with Big Magic this summer, with that book, ideas will come and go unless we take action on them. The ideas will float around until they find someone to do it. So if you are going to if something comes to you and you're thinking like, oh, this is a good idea, like put some detail to it, put some thoughts into it, talk it over with somebody, see what you can get out of it. But also, like, if you're stuck in thinking of a big idea, like, just start thinking about who you are. What's your avatar like? Brain dump a whole bunch of things down on paper and see what speaks to you the most about things. Think about what you need or what you're passionate about. Kind of going back to, like, what Teresa was talking about with free groups and, like, things like that. Like, you can just do something that brings joy to you and bring something that is going to help you specifically, but then what kind of bigger impact can you be making with people? So like the one that they really talked about a lot was was this take back the kitchen idea. And they have actually this power couple has like created this huge free group. There's like thousands of people in it. And they were all, then they were working on healthy recipes. They were talking about good nutrition for their kids. They started talking about daily sunshine. They went above and beyond and had like Isabel Deichler come do a Zoom call with the people in their free group to like really talk about daily sunshine and how the good nutrition can come in. They actually had Tony Horton be a Zoom call with their people and talk about double time and how they can take back their family's health and all those kinds of things. So they thought big. They had big ideas that maybe people would have thought like, well, that's crazy. I'd never get Tony Horton to show up to my team call. But like, you don't know until you ask. So like, brain dump all your ideas out. What is it, something that you love, that you are passionate about, that there's a certain group of people that you're working with, and then how can you add value to them, and how can you use that as a funnel in a way to get to the rest of you. One of the, kind of things, like Sarah's been talking a lot about Flip This Family, and I'm really excited that she's even like continuing to talk about it. So because it's kind of like the same as like take back the kitchen, but like how you can transform your entire family. And she's got proof in the pudding, because her whole family has transformed with Beachbody in the last few years, like going from super unhealthy to like this amazing role models for their kids, and being super involved with that. Talking with Kara Hintz on the way home, like she was trying to think of her like big idea, like what is it she could do for a free group, all these kinds of things. And we just started brainstorming, and we're like, hey, guess what? You're going to be a mom of 2 soon. Like, what if you did a mom of 2 group? Like that could be your thing. Like, it could be a big free group where you're just asking for advice or sharing some simple tips or doing something like that. And then just loving on people and supporting them and helping them become healthier people. So mom of 2, right? Julianne's big thing is boxer mom, right? She like that's her kind of idea, but like that's kind of her niche in her area, but she's, she could do something different with that. I'm really working on figuring out like some of my roles too. And like, I'm thinking about doing something with unhealthy administrators. Like if there's definitely another category of people in this world, and in my world at least, that are unhealthy people besides crazy busy moms, it's school administrators who are constantly giving to not only their immediate family, but the families of their entire community, and never take a break for themselves. So what can I do to serve them and go that way? And then, not only just have the ideas, but like put pen to paper, talk it out with people, get some actionable steps that you can take. And it doesn't have to be perfect to start, just start. Just take action. I think you've heard that from multiple people tonight already. It doesn't have to be perfect, just get started. There will be bugs in it. There will be things that you need to tweak, but that's okay. Like you get better as you move forward. Like one of the affirmations I say with my kids every morning is, when I struggle, I just keep trying. When I fail is when I learn, right? Like, so just keep trying things, keep evolving with it. And it's always more fun when you can learn along the way and just, show up and just do it. Yes. Yeah, isn't that crazy? Amanda, it's so true. School admins have much higher risk of heart attack after retirement because they're so used to stress. Yeah, I know, right? So if we can help them be healthier individuals, then why not? And so, yeah, just bring joy back to the process and take an idea and run with it. And if it falls flat, it falls flat. But hey, you learned something in the process, and you can do something new and go someplace else with it that you never maybe have gone before.
Heck yeah. Thanks, Kim. Such great examples in there. You guys, when I did that 75-day button leg challenge that Teresa mentioned, it was a big idea and I didn't even realize it yet. Like it was just something I was passionate about. And like, that's really what it does come back to. And if you can just keep it something that you're passionate about, and you can make it simple for people to understand what it is that they're going to get out of it, and they can sense your enthusiasm, you have found the secret sauce. Keep it simple and keep enthusiasm right there. And, it's like inviting people to a party. If you want people to come, you're going to be like, this is going to be awesome. You're going to have so much fun. I guarantee you'll be glad you came. You're not going to be like, well, if you don't want to come, I understand. You're not going to invite like that. So help people. Like when I think about coaching, we can get there's so much we can think about. But if we can just keep it simple, it just stays fun and it stays easy. And when I think about coaching, I really think like it's about getting people to fall in love with this lifestyle, loving the products, but loving the lifestyle. Like I'm obsessed. Like I think we all have our Beachbody obsessions. I'm obsessed with chocolate Shakeology. I'm really obsessed with Energize. I'm kind of obsessed with Chocolate Recover. I think I'm probably going to be obsessed with the bars. And, getting people to fall in love with that. And like, I use that stuff and I love it. And I love this lifestyle of like, I get up earlier now, I work out. Like if we can help people get in love with that, that's going to make them a great coach. And the other part of that is getting people to be able to share it, helping people be better communicators, helping people keep it simple, helping people have less fear and more passion. Like just helping people communicate that. And that is what is going to grow your team, and it's going to grow this impact. And just reminding people like vision leaks. Vision always leaks, and you have to continue to remind people of the vision, why they started, what they're doing, that this is so much bigger than a network marketing that someone might make a quick judgment on, so much bigger. Freeland, did you want to say something about your big idea?
Yeah, really quick, because it really spoke to me, you guys, at Diamond Day. So with that Take Back the Kitchen, these two coaches had this big idea and created a website, and the website was free, and they had basic free content for people on there. But what they did to help their business was have subscribers, and the subscribers were subscribing to Daily Sunshine. So they were getting success club points and volume from these people who were subscribing. And I think they had like a 12 or 15% subscription rate. So their website has like 11,000 people watching it, and about 2,000 are subscribers. So they give some free content, but then the subscribers get additional content. They get recipes, they get family, right? Like they said, they broke down how to make that really family friendly, but the subscribers get more content with their subscription. Like it doesn't just stop once they order Daily Sunshine. So it's this ongoing thing they're doing. And I say that because I wasn't really clear on the lines with Beachbody. So you can't package something and sell it. So like they couldn't package content called Take Back the Kitchen and sell it to coaches and make money off of that. You can't do that as a coach, right? And for those of you who are newer, maybe that's a little confusing, but it's been confusing for me for a while going to nutrition school. I'm like, oh, I could come up with a really easy, like how to shop guide, and I could probably sell that to people because that's something really hard for people to understand these days, to stay away from processed food. But I can't do that. I could do that and give it away for free as free content, right? If I came up with a how to shop group and then could have subscribers to Beachbody products. I hope that's not confusing. I hope that makes sense. So I just wanted to add that in with the big idea to make sure that it is related to Beachbody in the right way. Sarah, is that confusing?
No, I like that. That makes sense. Like you can use Amanda's going to nutrition school right now, and the stuff Beachbody makes is still really great stuff for her to stand behind and pair with her extra knowledge. You don't have to go to nutrition school. Like you could offer it's like basically having a virtual boot camp, kind of the same thing. You know, you're offering these extra services. So cool. Peggy, we have like 5 minutes. You don't have to share on sneak peeks unless you want to. It's up to you if you want to share a few things really quick.
Yes, I would love to. Just
okay.
Quick, I want to share one of the key components of any coach's business, and is sharing sneak peeks. For a while, it was super hard for me to do it. But Trina shared with us a slideshow that I was able to use and just change it for my team. I used it last night and it works wonders. So I'm going to share really quick my screen, and I apologize for the delay.
Uh-oh, Peggy. I don't know if you froze.
She's frozen, but to take advantage of her screen right now, the other thing that talked about, what Sarah talked about at the Diamond Day was like planning things out. So if you don't have a calendar that looks like Peggy's right now, where you just have everything scheduled to a T, like that would be a good tip for you to take away from this. We're seeing the positive in the moment. She's frozen, yes.
Yeah, look at how organized she is. Okay. Oh, Peggy, are you back? Peggy's not back. Trina had shared a really cool sneak peek, much more of a slideshow. And with it, you know, a lot of you rely on your upline Diamond or Team Fit and Free, where you're having a sneak peek Tuesday the 28th. You are all always able to come to that, and just going to be some more updated content, more of a conversation versus maybe post. that people are reading. So kind of look for that. And it's a great time to reach back out to people that you've mentioned coaching to before and been like, hey, I think you're thinking about this. Like, and I think that you'd be amazing at this. I really think you need to check out this event my team is having. Would you be interested? So a great time to reach back out. Awesome. All right. Thank you everyone for being on. I hope you got some great ideas and I hope you're able to take action with something there. And oh, Peggy, hello.
I'm back. Hello.
Hey, show us really quick.
Were you able to see anything of the screen?
You went to your calendar and it froze.
Oh man. Okay, girls. Sorry about that. Let me share with you. It hasn't been a technical difficulties today. All right. So I'm going to share it. Screen share. There we go. So this is what the
I don't think Peggy's computer wants to. That looks amazing though. So she made some slides, I'm guessing, in Canva, but don't worry. Like, you don't have to worry about a sneak peek. You can always rely on the Team Fit and Free one, or maybe one of your closer uplines has one. So, all right, we're going to call it a night. Thank you, everyone, for being on, and I hope that you're able to take some action with this. See y'all soon. Bye.